Hey, my name's Chris, and in this video I'm going to show you how to connect your mixer and set it up for a live show. So what we're looking at here to start with is a mixer, a single XLR microphone cable, and then we have a Bluetooth wireless receiver, and then we have a 5.8 in-ear wireless monitor system by X5, the U45. And then over here we have the Alto Professional TX10 200 watt, or are they 300 watts? 300 watt 10-inch two-way powered loudspeaker. So like I said, we're looking at here is a pair of Alto Professional live speakers. That's just the name, that's what they're called. Connected via XLR, power cord, etc. This can be done, I might add, with any mixer and speaker system. So basically on this one here, right here, main mix output. So these things here, for the sake of the exercise, I'm going to show you what I'm doing. Alright, so the main mix output, that means you take your two XLR cables, as you can see here, and pop those back in there as we had them. Easier said than done, right? Make sure your mixer is off, so now they're both plugged in. Now, so this cable that I plugged in back here, as you can see right there, that same cable follows right up into here. So let's pop that out and have a look-see here. On the speaker is the input. That's the male cable there. The male cable is going to go into the input. And you're going to do this on both of them. Make sure your power button is off. So that, like I said, goes into the main mix output on the back of the speaker there. So there to there. There to this one over here. This one I already plugged in, just to make sure everything works. So now you can see the mixer's on. You turn your mixer on, have your faders all the way down, and the mute buttons engaged for safety. Alright. And then you're going to want to go ahead and turn your speakers around, turn those on, and then check to see if the green light's on. It is. Very, very simple. And the same thing is going to apply over here. We're going to turn that one on as well, right there. Okay. Now that we have that set up, what we're going to do next is we want to plug in the first microphone. So even if you're if you're playing guitar and you're singing, or keyboard and singing, you're going to want to have a microphone, right? So here's the microphone. We're going to take the microphone cable, plug that into that first one there. That simple XLR cable. It's the same thing as every other one. When you have one of these right in front of you, it's more than evident and obvious what you're doing, okay? So, with that being said, we'll disengage the mute button over here. I'm going to tip this down so you can see it a little bit more. And then we're going to disengage the main. So the main is where all the sound comes out, and this is each channel for sound. So our microphone's here, so we're going to slowly bring the fader up on that one. And then we'll talk about this and a few other things. So I have the microphone. Let's see if we did this correctly. Testing, testing, testing. We're going to go to -15. Testing main mix, testing main mix. -20. -15 main mix. We'll leave it at -15 because I'm sitting right next to the speaker. You don't want to do this if you're this close to the speaker. Be at least 5, 6, if not 10 feet away is ideal, even with a dynamic microphone. It's working. So what exactly are we looking here for components that you need to set up your live show so you can play guitar, sing, and all that kind of stuff? Let me turn this down for a second. I want you to see all the components involved in doing live music like this. Now, like I did say, you can get wireless transmitters for your guitar, whether it's acoustic or electric, from X5. Check them out. I'll put links below. You can also get wireless. It looks basically like this thing here. This is an in-ear wireless transmitter, a U45 for in-ear monitoring, but they have something that looks just like this, and they plug right into the microphone, and then this thing would then plug right in over here. But because it's for monitoring, it's plugged into that one. But then you could sing at the same time you're playing. You get what I'm saying, right? So, on channel 1 we have the microphone. Channel 2 we have a guitar. If you're DJing, I put a Bluetooth wireless receiver over here. So you could play a song from your phone, like YouTube Premium, for example. But I did show you before, so I'll zoom in on it. You can send music right from there. So if you want to send like a drum or something, so you can play your guitar or whatever you're doing through, then you can play with the drum beat, then you have your guitar and you're singing. If, for example, you want to add sound effects like some shimmering delay or something, tape analog delay, you can also go ahead and connect one of these to your microphone. You just run your XLR into here. If you need a video for it, I just made a video similar to that, but it's more for the wireless thing. Check that video out. If it's just you, I'm always going to suggest get at least a 4-channel mixer. With that being said, I think it makes more sense just to invest a little more and get an 8-channel mixer. That way, you and another person have the option of up to 8 inputs each, something to consider. Now, when it comes to sound quality, sonic quality, fidelity, audio fidelity, how clear and crystal clear it is not actually the mixer. A mixer can do stuff like this. Now my EQ's turned all the way up. So listen to this. If I were to like amp, I'm going to mute, for example, I'm going to mute this one on my guitar and play through here. Okay. And now I'm going to turn that EQ off on the guitar. Now listen. There's hardly any shimmer versus when I have the EQ up. Now, what's actually doing that, if you're wondering what's actually adding all that shimmering, yes, it's the EQ, and yes, a dull microphone will massively either ruin or limit your sound as a singer and a guitar player. This guitar sounds way better mic'd, I would add too. Like, when I was playing it just line in, it just sounded, because it's using just the piezo. Now, when it does this, and I have it mic'd, dude, it sounds crystal clear, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, you sound a lot better. And it's like, well, that's why most professionals always put a microphone on the cab or the acoustic, etc. Anyway, with that much being said, getting back to my point here, my point is what basically is going to determine the clarity of your audio, meaning how crystal clear it is not just your mixer. Your mixer really doesn't do that. It gives you the ability to adjust EQs, but if you have a poor speaker quality, you will suffer the slings and arrows of dull sound. Now listen to me talking right now. Now listen to me talking. You see that? It's the same microphone, and I'm talking in the same voice, but now the frequency is really high. If you have really cheap speakers, you can't achieve the sonic quality that you hear right there. But now I've turned it down, and I'm turning the bass up. And I'm doing this exercise to give you an idea. Now, if you have a really cheap pair of speakers, you hear that? That boom sound and echo? That's all you're going to get. Okay, so these ones are 10-inch, 300 watt each. Alto's a good company. Everything I bought from Alto is good. In fact, that's the first time I've ever seen the gain button do that on this mixer, but it is hotter than the devil in here. So with that being said, invest your money. If you already have a good microphone, Shure SM58's ideal. If you can't afford a Shure SM58, Behringer or Behringer has an 85 BA. You can crank the EQ on that and achieve decent quality sound. Turn the bass off. So otherwise, the best or the most important thing then is, I don't think I lost my sound or something. The most important thing then is going to basically be getting good speakers. So save your money up for your speakers. Your mixer is just going to be like an interface between your microphone, your guitar, your keyboard, your saxophone, your flute, your beatbox, your vocoder, whatever you're using. Invest in really good speakers. Your stands don't matter as long as they hold. Make sure you get your speakers before you buy your stands so they fit, because these speakers have a hole in them. They're made for that. Make sure they're adjustable. You don't want to just set your speakers on the floor, because people's ears are up at the 5-6 foot region. Even if you tip it up, it's not the same thing, especially if you're a DJ. If you're a DJ, it's a huge no. If you're a musician and you're on stage, you may not need stands because you can set these things on their side. Point I'm getting at is how to do this and do it in a way that makes sense versus looking like a complete idiot. And that's basically my answer to it, is get decent speakers, at least a 4 to 8 channel mixer, and if you can, invest in a U45 or wireless microphone transmitter systems or the guitar transmitter system. Do it. You will not be sorry. If you want to check out my X5 U45 in-ear wireless system where I hook up my Boss V22, check that out. I have some other videos where I talk about mixers and stuff, but it's more discussing how to connect and hook mixers to certain pieces of equipment. If you have any questions for me, my name is Chris. This is Newcastle Music Studios. Please do me a huge favor. If this helped you, please subscribe. I'm trying to grow the channel again, so I'm putting a lot of work into this.